The word filler usually has a negative connotation to most people when it comes to anime. A lot of the time, filler episodes can be pointless and accomplish nothing but take time away from the more interesting canon story. However, on the rare occasion there are shows that happen to have some really good filler material, and a certain scientific railgun is one of those shows. As I stated in my most recent review of the first arc, these episodes work well as a companion story to the canon material. Series writer Seiichi Minikami does a good job expanding on the stuff introduced in the first half of the season. The Poltergeist arc consists of the last 5 episodes of season 1. The story begins with Uiharu getting a new roommate and being asked to help a transfer student named Eri Haraway adjust to life in another district. The main conflict of this arc is the strange occurrence of a phenomenon called poltergeisting, which has resulted in frequent earthquakes throughout Academy City. This arc introduces a new organization, Multi-Active Rescue, which is essentially emergency response for dangerous situations. The organization's leader, Darastina Lifeline, explains the situation to Anti-Scale and Judgment and cooperates with those entities on the issue. The antagonist for this arc, Darastina, much like Dr. Kiyama, is introduced as a good-natured person with no hidden motive. Darastina's true self and malicious intentions are masked well behind her love for childish things and her fake, friendly attitude toward Mizuka and her friends. As the poltergeisting becomes more frequent, Kuroko begins to suspect Uiharu's roommate is involved, given the sudden increase in incidents since her arrival. This causes them to butt heads early on in the beginning of the arc. Furthermore, Mizuka starts to suspect Dr. Kiyama might be involved somehow, given the similarities between the current case and the level upper incident. All the while, Darastina slowly gains the trust of the group after rescuing Haraway and Uiharu twice. I really like the initial setup of the story as it presents an intriguing mystery behind the poltergeisting, created a small internal conflict within the group of friends, and effectively introduces the villain. The weakest element of the story is the new character Eri Haraway. I wasn't a big fan of this character due to her rather passive and bland personality. Haraway is the kind of female character that I hate. She lacks self-confidence, she's shy, and extremely soft. My dislike of the character aside, Haraway adds nothing to the group. She is just there to be used as more of a plot device than anything. I do like the fact that Minikami tied the character's backstory with Hidasaki Banri, one of Dr. Kiyama's students, that slipped into a coma after an experiment failed. Haraway wants to look for Banri after being separated years ago at the child error facility. Besides that character motivation, there really isn't much to Haraway. However, the addition of this character does give Uiharu more to do than just sit at a computer like in the level upper arc. Uiharu takes on a big sister role, the inverse of her relationship with Saden, which is also delved into a bit deeper. Moreover, the friction between Uiharu and Shirai because of Haraway is much more drawn out and complex in comparison to the first time they clashed in episode 5 due to Shirai's recklessness. The situation isn't as simple as Kuroko being wrong this time, as both have legit reasons to be mad at each other. Uiharu felt betrayed, as it seemed Kuroko felt that her duty as a judgment officer was more important than their friendship. I really appreciated this minor conflict and the tiny bit of tension it adds and how it affects the group. It is later revealed that Dr. Kiyama was behind the poltergeisting incidents, which were a result of her failed attempts at waking the children up. This time, Dr. Kiyama doesn't just disrupt the lives of many people in Academy City, but endangers them as well for the sake of her students. The power of the comatose children were running out of control, and waking them up could potentially cause poltergeisting on a scale big enough to destroy the city. Shortly after Mizuka finds out about Dr. Kiyama's involvement, Darastina takes custody of the kids against Dr. Kiyama's wishes. Later, Uiharu convinces Dr. Kiyama to cooperate with Darastina by handing over her research in hopes that she would be allowed to see the children. Darastina refuses to allow Dr. Kiyama or Uiharu to see the children or Haraway, who has now been reunited with her friend Idasaki. Darastina's true identity as Kihara Gensei's granddaughter is revealed, as well as her true intentions. The show dropped plenty of hints that she had some kind of sinister ulterior motive in mind before the reveal, so the fact that she wasn't the kind and caring person that she pretended to be was no surprise. Just like her grandfather who experimented on her in hopes of creating a level 6 Esper, Darastina sees the children and all the inhabitants of Academy City as test subjects. Given the disregard for human life we've seen from Dr. Kihara in the flashbacks of the previous arc, it makes perfect sense that he would experiment on his own granddaughter. Theristina planned to make Haraway a level 6 Esper by using Dr. Kiyama's students to continue the experiments conducted by her grandfather. While Theristina is not the most compelling villain, she is a great contrast to Dr. Kiyama, who is a more sympathetic antagonist driven by guilt and frustration. Theristina, on the other hand, is driven by obsession much like her grandfather, and skews more toward being a typical villain who doesn't care if she lives or dies as long as her goal has been achieved. I prefer Dr. Kiyama as a villain over Theristina simply because of her motivation. Her actions weren't originally intended to cause harm to others, but to help the students that she has come to love. Both characters were selfish and perhaps narrow-minded in the execution of their plan to reach their goals, but at least Dr. Kiyama wasn't your typical heartless and deceptive villain like Theristina is. When Mizuka finds out about TherisTina's identity, she's filled with anger over TherisTina's deception and guilt because of the fact that she sided against Dr. Kiyama, keeping the children, believing it was the best thing for them. She confronts Theristina alone without telling her friends, but ends up getting choked out. But Mitsuko Kongo manages to save her from being another one of TherisTina's experiments. I think it's worth noting that Mizuka acting alone on emotions of guilt and anger while keeping her friends in the dark is a large part of what happens in Season 2. This could be seen as a precursor to her borderline self-destructive and self-sacrificing behavior throughout the next season. Mizuka wants to atone for her mistake while shouldering the burden alone, which is something that Saden reminds her that she doesn't need to do. I really like the moment at the hospital where Saden stops Mizuka from trying to go back out after being defeated by Theristina. At this point is where Saden acts as a mediator in Kuroko and Kazari's ongoing spat, in which she gets them both to apologize to each other. Saden convinces Mizuka to let them help save the children, and they eventually team up with Dr. Kiyama and Kongo during the final act of this story. The third act of this story consists of the two confrontations with Theristina and a team up with Shirai and Kongo against multi-active rescue units. Much like the level upper arc, the action and fighting is sparse up until the climax. The animation was still good and the small fights at the end were entertaining. The only negative thing I have to say in regards to the animation is that the 3D or CGI robotic suits stood out during certain scenes. It can look weird sometimes alongside the regular 2D animation, but this is a problem that many series can have. Other than that, the animation is consistent with the first arc. Anyway, before I wrap up this review, I must talk about this fantastic moment with Saden near the conclusion of the fight with Theristina at the facility where the children are being kept. During the Big Spider arc, a device called Capacity Down was introduced that emits a sound that disrupts Esper's abilities and incapacitates them. Theristina reveals that she was the creator of the device and created a larger one capable of incapacitating a level 5 like Mizuka. Theristina activates the device, which prevents Mizuka, Shirai, and Ueharu from doing anything. At this point, Saden is the only one that can save not only them, but the children and potentially Academy City from possible destruction. Ueharu cleverly communicates with Saden what she needs to do in order to stop the device, and after a bit of searching, she destroys the mechanism using a bat. This is such a satisfying character moment for her, given that Saden's internal conflict in the level upper arc was not having any power. Saden's lack of power made her feel useless and led to her using the level upper. However, in this situation, Saden knows that she is not useless. She's the only one with the power to act. You can make the case that this brief moment of heroism shows Saden's character growth. In addition to that moment with Saden, the end of the story even provides closure for Dr. Kiyama at the end. I really appreciate how much this filler arc feels like a natural continuation of Kamachi's canon material for season 1. Aside from the plot device named Haraway and the arguably less interesting Theristina and the iffy CGI or 3D mech suits, I don't really have many complaints about this story arc. The Poltergeist arc is a solid 7.5 in my opinion. It's much better than a lot of the filler arc content that we get in other series. Anyway, that's gonna be the review for the Poltergeist arc. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.